Welcome on into 19 on the Clock, your Tri-State High School and College Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Pushkar. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Jackson McCarty. And Jackson, we have a busy show ahead of us. Lots of topics to cover as we kind of sat down and we went, so what's the plan? And we're like, oh, it's way more than we were really thinking about.
Which, by the way, if you guys ever decide, hey, I want to start a podcast, come up with the plan for the episode more than 15 minutes before you hit record. Because we have a surplus. We had a guideline.
I want to see. Okay, yeah, I was going to say 24 hours ago, we at least were like, hey, this is probably what we're going to do.
We had a sketch of what it was, and then we decided to start coloring when we sat down in these chairs a few minutes ago. Point being, I'm going to quickly rapid fire all of the different headlines that we have today because, like you mentioned, It is a jam-packed show. We've got the college football playoff semifinals.
Yes.
We've got transfer portal news.
Yes.
We've got a quick look at how the college basketball seasons are going for the men's teams.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 4 high school girls teams that we want to talk about in basketball that are kind of really setting expectations high as we move towards the playoffs. And then we've also got a head coach move at the high school football level that is going to have major ramifications on next year. So if any of that is of interest, you have found the right place to be.
And if only I knew how to make the chapters thing work. In the podcast, it would make it a lot easier. I
don't know if the service that we use does that. I think you have to do it through the actual app. And I don't know if we can do the actual app through whatever.
There's a line. I just don't know how it works.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
But you mentioned what we're going to talk about first.
Yes.
And let's get that one out of the way because, to be fair, we don't really have any local teams, but we should take accountability for what we said last week.
Of course.
And that is last week we were like, Ohio State, moving on. They're gonna gonna beat Miami. It's gonna be easy.
Carson Beck's gonna fall apart.
What is Carson Beck going to do? And it turned out he was going to beat the Ohio State Buckeyes.
And it turns out dominating the line of scrimmage, always a major point, right? But Miami had the defensive line to do that and went ahead, followed through with it, caused so many problems for Julian Sayin and an Ohio State team that lived comfortably throughout the year, felt discomfort throughout that game. Mm-hmm. That was their demise.
And I think it really was a case of they just had such an I don't like the people who have been online and were like, oh, Ohio State didn't play anybody this year.
They did.
And they finally got shown for it
with
the IU.
But they stomped out a good Washington. They beat a good Michigan. Mm-hmm. And then they lost narrowly to the best team in the country.
Yes. I did not expect that Miami game to go the way it ended up going.
I would agree.
But it is another point.
Oh, Texas as well. Sorry.
Yeah, Texas as well. But it is another point that we are now 1-7 for top 4 seeds in the college football playoff, which kind of an interesting point. And also very interesting to see the one team to have finally broken that trend, the Indiana Hoosiers.
Cincinnati is the man.
I have never seen someone winning a game be more angry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That is the kind of...
Winning in the fashion that he was winning into. I mean, they were mugging Alabama.
Yes.
I've told everybody that'll listen, I have never contemplated or thought it was ever possible that logo and those uniforms would get beaten that bad on national television.
Yeah.
And I think that probably says as much about the state of Alabama currently as it does Indiana and what they've been able to accomplish.
For sure.
But, there was no sticker shock. There was no legacy bonus for Alabama. Indiana said, "No, we're the new kings in town," and they proved as much.
I think Mendoza is continuing to show why he deserved that Heisman this year.
Did you see the thing on Twitter where they compared Mendoza and Cignetti to the main characters in Up?
I was waiting to hear you be like, like this coach and this player from years ago and how they played. No, I did not see that, but
it's fantastic.
That's a really good comparison. Yeah, I do like that.
It's just an angry old man and his overly enthusiastic sidekick.
Yeah.
And it works. Hey, it worked for Pixar. It works in Bloomington.
They are making that house fly in Bloomington right now.
Exactly. the balloons can be all the JMU transfers that they got. But all the same, you're right. I think that is going to be such a massive cornerstone piece that eventually leads to 16-team playoffs. Maybe this offseason.
Yes. I'm really of the mind that you don't need buys in this, or at least not for all 14. Like, the NFL basically has what? It's the 2 top seeds in the conference, or is it the number 1? I always mix it up.
It's the 2 on each.
Number 1 seeds. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So again,
that's been a point of contention.
Yeah. And I don't totally agree with it as well. You just gotta get to 6. I think you just gotta get to a much more even, have everybody play throughout the time.
I would agree.
So Fiesta Bowl is going to be Miami versus Ole Miss, and Peach Bowl is going to be Indiana versus Oregon. Do you want to make picks here, because we do have an ACC SEC matchup and a Big Ten matchup?
Let's go. At this point, I feel as though I'm in the classic GCL South conundrum that I kept putting myself in this year in football. How can I not take Miami?
Okay,
because they've done the thing. I think Ole Miss is extremely impressive in the fact that they're surviving after Lane Kiffin and thriving. But I do think ultimately that has to come to an end.
There's something where it's gradually wearing away at the team that I don't know how long it's sustainable. That I wouldn't be shocked if Ole Miss and Trinidad Chambliss win this game. Yeah. But when you sit at it from afar before a ball's even on the field, it's I kind of have to think Miami here.
Well, and again, that pressure of that D-line and what that defense is going to be able to accomplish on a weekly basis, I just think that's so hard to pick against right now. And then in the Peach Bowl, I kind of want to go Oregon just because it feels like they are in a position where they could be what Ohio State was last year. They lose a big game, try to figure it out, redeem themselves, whatever. But how can you pick against Indiana right now? They're defying the logic as one of the 4 seeds with that bye week. And if that month off didn't stop them from looking dominant, I don't think that we're going to run into an issue with that in the Peach Bowl.
I think at the end of the day, it's really a battle of 2 of the best coaches in the country right now.
Yes.
And a little piece of me wants to lean Lanning.
Yeah. I mean, if you took every coach off of every team in college football, you mix all the teams up randomly, the team that gets to pick number 1 as to who their coach is going to be, Dan Lanning is probably coming off the board.
Yeah.
And if it's not Lanning, he is top 3. He's one of those guys that he's young, but he's a dude that you're going to build around, and he's going to be a nightmare for a really long time. He's going to have more years. I think Cignetti has the pressure of now.
Perform now.
Correct.
Last. Yeah.
He's got, 5 years?
Something like that. I mean, yeah, he's already 65. I think he's 65. No, 64. Excuse me.
Okay, so maybe let's call it 6 years. Let's say he retires when he's 70.
Yeah. Reasonable for a head coach to do.
Yes. Honestly, he could probably file it in tomorrow and nobody blame him. Yeah. But it feels like the pressure is on him a little bit more to do it now, which I think that pressure has obviously created diamonds for them. So it also is interesting that it's 2 of the best coaches versus 2 of the best recruiters. You know what I mean? Because Miami and Ole Miss, Pete Golding revered for his recruiting. Yeah. And obviously Cristobal has gotten to the dance because he can get guys in the building.
Absolutely.
Just neat how that panned out.
I like that. Yeah. That's a good point. So that's big. We wanted to talk about some of the headlines for the tri-state portal area.
Yes. And if we did every team that we cover, we would be here for hours.
Yep.
So we picked kind of the big 3 within conference or within their conferences: Ohio State, Kentucky, Louisville. Yeah. Where do you want to start?
Let's just start actually with UK.
Yeah.
Because I think the movement that's happening there with the Wildcats is interesting, and it has an implication for one of the tri-state's best high school players who's going to be going down there next year.
Absolutely it does. So, okay. Kenny Minchie, Notre Dame's backup quarterback, almost beat C.J. Carr for the position, is going to be a Kentucky Wildcat. That comes I think 2 days after it was announced that he was going to go to Nebraska.
Okay.
What that tells me is Kentucky is giving blank checks to guys that they really want, and they believe Will Stein is going to put something together.
Mm-hmm.
So they were able to lure Kenny Minchie over. He has 2 years of eligibility, I believe. So that puts Matt Ponatoski as a redshirt sophomore by the time he'd be able to start if Kenny stays both years.
Sure.
That's not a bad setup.
No.
That's a good development plan, especially if he's willing to hang tough. It sounds like Will Stein really likes Ponatoski. There was pictures of those two together during an Oregon visit, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that he could be positioning Ponatoski for success later on.
And I do think that it is healthy to give him that redshirt year at the minimum. Like even if it does end up being that Minchie leaves and you put in Matt on his redshirt freshman year, that's still I'm actually okay with that in a long term thing. But you did have to make a move when Cutter Boley said, "Hey, I'm going to Arizona State." So.
Absolutely. Which, if for a minute, it looked like Sam Leavitt would maybe be the guy that would come to Kentucky. Yeah. He's now been at LSU, was sitting courtside with Lane Kiffin when DeMond Williams Jr.'s news broke that he wanted out of his Washington contract. LSU seems to be the rumored fit for that. Now Sam Leavitt's taking a visit to Knoxville. As of right now, today, Wednesday, so yesterday when this comes out, the quarterback tie-ins situation, especially as it pertains to Sam Leavitt, is some of the most backwards stuff I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
It is so much leveraging, and it feels like I'm watching Succession. It's very just like convoluted, but like in the most beautiful way.
Yes.
Outside of the quarterback room, as you mentioned before we move on from QBs, Cutter Boley in Arizona State, I like that fit.
Yeah.
I really do. I think Dillingham's going to have fun with him. But when you look outside of the quarterback room, there are 8 incoming transfers right now for the Wildcats. 3 of those, big ads on the offensive line. Colton Price, Olas Alinian maybe? He's a Bama.
Lennon.
Yeah, he's a Bama transfer.
Okay.
And then Max Anderson from UT.
Yes.
Those 3 guys, I think, are going to play a big role on that offensive line, and it obviously shows where Will Stein's priorities lie, building something to protect whoever's back there. Kenny Minchie. So very, very intrigued by what the Cats are doing right now.
And the biggest thing for the Cats, I think, was that the defense was not bad this year for the most part. I think there were times where they just got a little bit outclassed, but it wasn't like they were giving up. It wasn't like they were completely lost out there. You just needed to get an offense that's moving and working and adding to the offensive line like this, protect your quarterback, create openings for a running back, I think is going to be huge moving on into next year.
Absolutely. And I was trying to see who their defensive coordinator is, just because I didn't know if it was a holdover or how they Kentucky defensive coordinator.
I don't know if they've made any announcements on that side of things yet.
Okay, it's Jay Bateman, which is A&M. He's the old A&M guy. So they weren't a bad defensive unit, but I don't know enough about Bateman to qualify if that's a good or bad hire.
Yes.
Okay, so do we want to stay in Kentucky or do we want to jump to Ohio State here?
Let's jump to the Buckeyes.
Okay.
Because that was another one that I think was really big that I was seeing a lot of chatter about too.
Yes. So right now, one of their bigger fish that they're looking at is Chaz Coleman. He, I believe, is on campus as of Wednesday. Again, one of the most premier players. He's kind of a weird situation, hard to really get a gauge. Looks like it's probably going to be Ohio State or LSU, but Tennessee is in the mix. Mm-hmm. They have the Adidas money. Could get weird. A lot of developmental guys jumping into the portal for Ohio State. 5-star Quincy Porter. I just saw he jumped in last night, I believe. So Tuesday night. That's massive. And especially whenever you're looking at the situation that Hartline left, you have to wonder, how tied in that is. Because I think a lot of those guys were on offense that are leaving. So you have to remain cognizant.
Yeah, Porter, James Peoples, who is the backup running back. I mean, like it's one of those things too where when you have such a breadth of talent in the Ohio State offense, like James Peoples probably isn't going to like you have Bo Jackson doing things. He's going to be the running back for a while now.
Yep.
It makes sense to go, I'm going to go get playing time at Penn State.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a totally fine move by him. Bryce West, a cornerback, going to Wisconsin. The one pickup that I really liked too was John Walker from UCF.
Okay.
On the defensive line.
Have they officially landed him?
It's my understanding that he was officially committed.
Okay. Because right now 24/7 saying they've just got one guy, and it's the Ohio University. But it's totally possible that they just haven't updated yet.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it says 24 hours ago they landed him. So there you go.
Cool.
But yeah, because right now it reads that they've got 21 outgoing, and just Mason Williams from OU is the only person they've landed so far.
Yeah.
Which is Ohio State will get it right. I'm not worried about them, obviously. But 21 outgoing guys, and like it being like 85-15 offense just feels like a lot.
Yeah, I mean it is just this thing though. Like when you really look when you really look at who on offense is leaving though, it's running backs, wide receivers.
Tegra Chavola is the only starter.
I was at a couple offensive linemen.
Mm-hmm.
Lincoln Keenholz, who we'll talk about a little bit too.
Yes.
Backup quarterback. Not gonna start over saying like these guys. It's the Joe Burrow thing.
Yeah,
these guys want to play. They're gonna do. It's just that they don't have to do as much time with one program before going to the next one to actually get that chance.
Right. There's no incentive for loyalty right now.
Yeah,
you can just hop around and do your thing. But yeah, Tegra being the only actual starter that like is immediately out and doing his thing, I think that kind of tells you what you need to know.
Yeah.
It's just the lack of patience that's kind of plaguing all of college football.
It's these guys and it's a little bit of the world of the recruiting and things like that. Of I'm a 5-star, I should be playing, and it's like, well, you're behind another 5-star, or
right?
You're just starting this year.
You're behind 5 stars, really 4 or 5 when you're a Ohio State receiver.
Exactly. And then you're gonna, but like, yeah, you can go to another school. You can get that starting playing time, and probably get similar money to what you would be getting, or maybe more, just for you're not fighting the rest of your room. Your position room for that cash.
Yeah, Quincy Porter could go land at USF with Heartline and be wide receiver one, day one, number one target. Probably get 80 targets throughout a year.
Yeah,
if that's what he wants to do. But you choose Ohio State because of the legacy and the whatever. So like, you have to be patient if that's the path you want to go. And then since you already mentioned Lincoln Keenholz, let's transfer.
Let's head over to the Cardinals.
Yep,
yeah.
That is who they're going to put under center next year. Obviously, he's been at Ohio State for 3 years at this point, I believe.
I believe so. Yes.
He is an interesting one. It's cool that he's getting a shot to actually start, especially at a P4 level. Louisville just doesn't really seem interested in paying top dollar for quarterbacks, because like they were rumored for Raiola, that obviously didn't come to fruition. I think they were mentioned for Levitt for half a second. They've been mentioned in a handful of different races, but they go with a career backup to this point. They're going to let him have a chance to create something out of himself. Obviously, they went with Miller Moss, who had his struggles and was not going top dollar, and Tyler Shuck, who had the injury concerns. And it's Jeff Brom is choosing to do the reclamation thing at this point, whenever guys would come to LSU or Louisville.
Yeah, it's this thing. It's kind of the thing. It's just what Brom's done, though.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like when he started at Purdue, he had David Blau for his, I believe, just senior year. Blau had a great year, got wide receivers to throw to, and it was like there was a lot more options for him and things like that. That's how they ended up beating Ohio State the second year, things like that. No, he got 2 years with Blau. Now that I'm saying that, because he Blau threw in the game against Ohio State, which was 2019.
Yes.
Or 2018. I will keep my years straight, I swear. But yeah, 2018, because it was after I graduated. But but then after that he gets Elijah Sindelar, a walk-on, who is kind of just he was there to play school for the most part. He's one of the few engineering majors. He was like one of the few engineering majors that was also a quarterback in winning games and things like that. And then you get into the Jack Plummer, Aiden O'Connell thing, where again a walk-on Aiden O'Connell versus Jack Plummer, who was recruited for that spot. He ends up going with O'Connell and developing him to the point where he gets drafted by the Raiders, and is
now been the backup for 4 years.
Yeah, and that, I mean, like it's never like he develops these guys into incredible stars that need to go and play in the NFL. Like Blau was an undrafted pickup by the Lions, played for them for a little while.
He's the quarterbacks coach in Washington now.
Yes, and so I think it's this thing where it's just what he knows is, give me a guy with a little bit of experience. I'm gonna make him better. And I like it better with, I'm going to get a junior who's been working at the top level at Ohio State. I can kind of trust that he's been training and things like that, than saying like, I'm going to get a senior who's on his like this is his last year. And that's been my concern with like a Moss, with a Shook.
He's actually going to have something to develop a little bit here and have multiple years to put it together.
Yes.
I will also say he is trading the experience factor for that. While Keinholz has been around, he hasn't really played a whole lot. No. It also does sound like there is a ton of vocal support behind him within the Ohio State, being like, hey, kid, go get your shot. Like, we're proud for you. Like, go do your thing, which speaks highly to Lincoln's character.
Yes.
So an interesting situation to keep tabs on. Right now, I would say the main guy, in my opinion, that Louisville's picked up is Tulsa tight end Brody Foley. I think he's a really fun addition, obviously outside of Keinholz. They've got 12 guys incoming right now, but 27 guys leaving feels like a lot for a retained coach to me.
Yeah.
Almost 30 dudes.
Do you know how many of them have just entered versus like already committed to something?
Here, I can, if you give me,
because I'll fill time while you're doing that, because I do know that was one big thing at the end of the season where there was concern of, is Jeff Brom going to try and go to another school, get a new job type thing? B, does Louisville want to keep him in a sense, and are these players fully committed to what he's doing?
Right now, 2 of them have signed elsewhere. Okay. And 2 people have withdrawn their transfers. So AJ Green and Antonio Watts coming back.
Okay.
There's Brady Allen, a quarterback. You got a punter, a D-line, some tight ends.
Because it's
a lot of 0 stars, which is filling out a lot of his numbers.
Okay.
So presumably guys that were like, hey, we got to let you go. I would say that there's, once you remove the 0 stars, it's probably about 19 or 20 outgoing. Okay. So it's not as bad as I thought it was.
Yeah, and I don't remember what that recruiting class looks like, but I'm sure he's getting some guys in that I'm not too concerned for Louisville right now.
No. Well, and yeah, if you're able to have 12 by the 5th day that the portal's been open, I think you're doing good. Like, a lot of schools are still trying to get their 3rd.
Yes. And I think it's going to be this question of going into next year, do you regress or improve from the mean?
Yes.
Because they're kind of sitting at that 8-4, 7-5 pretty consistently. And I think if I'm in the front office at Louisville, I want to get 9 wins next year.
I will say 3 Kentucky transfers.
Yes.
Is weird.
Yes,
that feels like sacrilege.
There's a lot. Whatever. Listen, there's a lot of people, a lot of athletes going from Kentucky to Louisville this year.
Yeah, well,
not even just in football. It's kind of surprising.
That's become a common trend. Kentucky just took Tennessee Max Anderson, the lineman. Like, it's just so disjoint. We will have to do another episode of just talk about the transfer portal at some point, because I do because you're right. Like, there's a point where I'm like, well, this just feels wrong. Like, you shouldn't be able to transfer to a rival. Like, keep it out of in-conference stuff, stuff like that. And I'm like, but you can't actually. Yeah, you can't hold that. You can't even enforce contracts. Yeah. Again, watch what happens with the Washington Damon Williams situation. What's going to happen is LSU or whoever lands them is going to have to pay Washington essentially a buyout, and that's going to become the new norm.
Yes.
Buyouts for these contracts.
It's a crazy world we live in nowadays.
Buyouts for a contract that were signed less than a week ago.
Yes. That is the big thing where I'm just like, it's at least for the long term. Like the nice thing about these contracts are that they're finally being like, hey, we're getting our money back if you're leaving.
Yes,
like, that's how this works. Type thing.
Reclaim for sure. But all right,
let's move over to basketball now.
Yes, men's basketball at the college side. We haven't quite gotten to dip off into this in the full extent to this point, so we wanted to give a speed run of what you've missed if you're just now switching into the basketball season.
Yes, and because it was one of those things where I went, that we're going to get to a point where we're too close to March to be like, well, let's talk about UC for the first time. So we're going to hit basically every team, not even just in the tri-state, but in the overall surrounding spaces. So let's start off, though, hometown team with the Bearcats.
Yes.
Who are just coming off of a loss to West Virginia last night, 62-60. Mm-hmm. Bearcats are 8-7, 0-2. Mm-hmm. One player in double digits.
Oh, Day-Day.
No, not even Day-Day. I didn't write it down in the notes for you.
Oh, God.
But it was five shots from the 3 points for 15 points total.
Okay.
That was the only double digits.
There you go.
And that's why I'm like, the shooting is not there in that game. And it is shocking to me to give up 10 points to finally hit one 3-pointer in the last almost 5 minutes. It was about 4:46 was on the clock. And UC did not score until one 3-pointer to put it to 62-60.
Okay.
And I'm like, you can't do that.
No.
You have to be scoring.
Yes. Well, and especially a school that this was supposed to be a lot of pressure on this year, and Wes Miller was supposed to have it figured out. Very clearly does not at this point in the year.
Now, I think that there is something to be said about the whole, like, Jizzle James leaving, Jizzle James coming back, what's been going on with all that.
Yeah, but, like, that should have been a motivator.
Yes. When you get him back, it's like, okay, now we really do this type thing.
As soon as he's back at practice, it should be like, we're invested now. We've got something to play for. That just hasn't been the case at all. Like, do we know offhand what their record is since Jizzle James has returned?
Ooh, no, because I just don't remember what game he came back for.
Yeah, I'm looking. Okay, so he was added to the Bearcats roster December 17th.
Okay, give me 1 second and I'll pull up the roster.
Yep.
Or the schedule.
Yep.
But I'm gonna say it. What day was it again? I'm sorry.
December 17th.
So assuming he did not play on December 17th against Alabama State, or if he did, they are 2-3 in that time. Which is
yes, Alabama State was his return game.
Okay, so they're 2-3. That is a win over Alabama State, a loss to Clemson, a win over Lipscomb, a loss to Houston, a loss to West Virginia.
Yes, which a loss to Houston I'm not going to count against anybody.
Sure,
because Houston's good.
Sure,
and worth mentioning, those 3 losses close. 3 points Clemson, 7 points Houston, 2 points West Virginia. But we're too far down the pike for this. What this has been. To be playing the margin games and to get bonus points for close.
And you're just like where they are sitting right now. They are so far out of even beginning to think about the tournament.
Yes,
they're 98 in the net rankings right now. Because we'll talk about them next. I mean, and Xavier's not much better at 119. Like it's such a weird year that both teams are kind of struggling.
But Xavier had nobody. Sorry, I overmodulated that mic.
I was going to say, and these are totally different situations.
Yes.
I want to be clear right now.
Yes,
totally different situations. This is a Wes Miller. You're probably gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If this continues, this trend where we're at, you're gone. I don't see that staying.
Something has to flip, or else Wes Miller is looking for a new job when the tournament starts.
Correct. Now you're right. Xavier is totally different. Came in with one player.
Yes.
Patino is.
I'm impressed.
Figuring things out. The fact that they're 9-6, and what did I write? Where's my notes? 9-6, 1-3. They're going to be playing Marquette tonight as we were recording, so that game will be done by the time you are hearing this. You have forward Trey Carroll is leading the team with 16 points per game on a 47 shooting percentage. I'm kind of fine with that. I think it does imply a little bit of you're not using your perimeter as much and playing a little bit more inside ball. I would want to see that develop more on the outside, especially when you're in a conference with a team like UConn who just shoots like madmen. Yeah.
Well, because I like just scrolling through how we're talking about UC dropping that game to West Virginia and how that can't happen. Xavier beat West Virginia by 10.
Yeah.
Like UC, obviously they beat UC by 5. But they beat Georgetown by 3. Lost UConn by like 23, but it's fine. Either way, they are exceeding what was expected of them, and that is big.
Yes, Xavier. If Xavier was below 500 right now, I would have been like, okay,
yeah,
sure. I wouldn't have totally looked at I wouldn't have known exactly who they were playing and things like that of schedule stuff. But it was like, if they were there, I wouldn't have been shocked. The fact that UC is so close to 500 right now is surprising to me.
Yes.
From a team that should be doing better.
This was a surefire 10-5.
Yeah. UC is
at least.
UC has the from my list of players that I pulled, or from my list of teams I have here, the lowest scoring leader at 12.7 with Day Thomas, the worst record, and it's just like, and you have teams that are inarguably worse conferences that are not doing as well.
Yep.
And this is what you guys are doing. You got something has got to change, and I think we're going to just see that once we get to that March, February time period.
Something is fundamentally broken.
Yes,
you got to fix it.
And then you're going to have another, and then next year you'll be having a rebuild like Xavier, and kind of going from there.
Yeah, unless West can figure out where the leak is, it might be time to get a new boat.
So let's go across the river for a second. We're going to go down to Northern Kentucky. They're 12-5.
The Norse.
The Norse are 4-2 in the Horizon, half a game behind the top. We will mention the team that is on top and tied for first. Their next game is Friday at Milwaukee, and guard Dan Gerziger is, I believe, how I'm going to say that.
Yeah, Gerziger would have been my guess there.
Is dropping 17.1 points per game on a 42.4 clip.
Beautiful.
I'm very happy with that. Yeah. It's going to be fascinating to see. Let's just jump ahead to the bottom of my list of Wright State, who is 9-7, 4-1, tied with Oakland at the top of the Horizon League right now. It's the Horizon is so competitive within itself, and it's a lot like the MAC in football, where you get like 3-4 teams that just bang heads over and over.
It becomes a nightmare to try to sort out at the end, like the ACC was for football this year.
Yes, also true. And so I'm pretty cautiously optimistic that NKU can get back into the tournament this year, make a run in the Horizon League, and kind of get back on top of that conference. But that is kind of just going to be like hey, this is the goal, and let's see you get there type thing. Also,
this situation is bringing truth to power with the whole. You take a year to build, you have something, the portal takes it all away. You take your year to build, you have something the next year, takes it all away. Because obviously last year down year, figuring it out now, would imagine guys like Gerziger will have other opportunities after this year. All that said, solid foundation. Like you said, they're positioning themselves to have another shot at the tournament, and just keep doing what you're doing.
And speaking of another team and this is fun because it's the best team, arguably in the Tri-State, and of all these teams going right now. Miami is 16-0. They are 4-0 in the MAC.
Beautiful.
Next game is Friday at Toledo. Brant Byers is scoring 14.8 points per game on a 51.4% shooting. 10th in the country in points per game at 93.3. I like, but this plays into exactly what you were saying with Northern Kentucky. That I'm going to not be shocked if Miami struggles because they have players picked and pulled away to bigger programs. It's just like just like Chuck Martin has to deal with every year with the football team.
Absolutely. Well, beyond that, Travis Steele. Like, how long do you get to keep him? Hey, that's a guy who's going to be in hot demand after what's been put together already, assuming that there's not some great giant fall apart. So, having an offense that's functioning at that high of a level with your highest point scorer not even being at 15 also says so much about how you are running this team as a team. All the credit in the world to Miami, because this is a style of basketball that is both new wave in that high volume, high intensity, score it as often and as collective as you can without having to rely on one guy.
Yes.
Without that version of individualism that is kind of running basketball now. So, probably the most interesting case study in all of college basketball this year is the Miami Redhawks.
Yeah.
To me, at least.
Yeah, because I was even gonna be like, well, like it's a little bit of like a, I mean, it's kind of like the Matt Painter book in a way where you don't always have. It's weird because I think Purdue has shifted a little bit into a one guy team more recently.
But it's always because it's like Zach Edey isn't exactly a shooter, but like you try to get it to him more often than not.
Well, and I'm thinking back to the 2018 season. 2017-2018 season where it was the four seniors working together. But you had Dakota Mathias, who was shooting on the outside. You had Isaac Haas, who was big on the inside. And you were just kind of working around. But then you have the next year, it's Carson Edwards. It's Jaden Ivey. Zach Edey are the big guys. Edey at least had the benefit of playing with Braden Smith, who has been, player of the year already. And you're just kind of like, but it's not all on him. It's just he's the player of the year because he's making everybody else contribute and put together while picking up when he needs to. Let's go back into Kentucky now to the Wildcats. They are currently 9-5 overall, 0-1 in the SEC. That is a loss to Alabama.
Their big storyline so far has been they're a team that is not working together properly.
Yeah, and
like
it's such
visibly.
a toss up of who they're gonna beat in a weird way. Like you had a Louisville game where they lost 96-88, but then you have a Michigan State game where they lose 83-66, and then you come around and you beat Indiana 72-60, and you beat St. John's 78-66, but you've already lost 94-59 to Gonzaga. And then a 67-64 loss to North Carolina. So it's like, where are you? Like, where are you in that pack? It's hard. It's kind of oddly hard to track. And then their most recent loss was Alabama, 89-74. Otega Owe is leading with scoring at 14.7 points per game, 46.3% field goal shooting.
I don't know how long you give Mark Pope if this is what year 2 looks like.
You give him a third. I don't know what his contract looks like. I would say give him a third, and then you go from there.
Yeah, but I've never seen a Kentucky Wildcat basketball team this visibly disjointed.
That's fair.
They don't look like they want to play together.
Yeah.
And so you can say what you want about Calipari and how he ran that organization program. But he, even whenever it was all new guys every year, they all still played together. And whenever they were pushing very clearly for draft stock over college glory, they still played as a team and still accomplished a lot as a unit. So
that's right.
I think that UK right now is kind of losing both of those factors, and you can't build that. You can't build upon that.
Now, I will say this. Kentucky is 32 in net ranking right now, which is because they just have quad 4 wins and are 2-5 in quad 1.
Okay.
So the committees or the algorithm of it is looking at it and going, well, they're losing to good teams
for sure,
and I think that's fair.
And you probably give him a third year. You're probably right.
Yeah.
I just don't. If they finish with 20 and if they finish 20-10, and things don't ever really look that. Actually, no, because that means that they only had 6 conference losses.
Yeah.
I don't know the point. I don't know what the magic number is, but you have to figure out some form of chemistry here fast. because this is falling apart.
You gotta either make the team work together or kind of blow it up, and then you arguably shorten your line and your string and your safety net there. Let's go over to the Louisville Cardinals. We'll hit them real quick. Ryan Conwell leading the team, 19.9 points per game, shooting 40%. They're 11-4 and 1-2 in the ACC. Losses to Arkansas, Tennessee, and then they have lost their last two games against Stanford and Duke. They're playing Boston College on Saturday.
Okay.
Yes, Saturday. Notably, though, they are currently 15 in net rankings, which is what goes into majority of who goes into the tournament at the end of the year. So they are in a very arguably good spot.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a little bit of just finding their footing as they're going into this ACC conference play. Because they lost to Duke. Duke's fifth in the net.
Right.
Duke is looking solid. Stanford game, a little bit more of like a hey, like wake up, let's get back into things from here. And so I'm not too concerned about the Cardinals overall, but it will be interesting to see what they do from there. Let's go back into Ohio. We're going to head up to Columbus. You've got the Buckeyes with a very nice 10-4, 2-2 record. Losses include Illinois, Nebraska, North Carolina, and Pitt. And Nebraska team is shocking this year. Yeah. No, I do not believe anybody in the Big Ten expected them to be as good as they are playing right now. But it's such a you have Nebraska, you have Michigan, you have Purdue, you have Michigan State, you have a Minnesota team that's looking pretty solid. This is a tough year in the Big Ten.
It's a deep conference.
Yeah. Hey, always has been a pretty good one at basketball. Bruce Thornton is leading the team with 20.6 points per game, shooting 58% from the field, very solid, and is also leading in assists with 4.2.
Yes.
So I don't think the Buckeyes are going to be on top of the Big Ten this year. I think you could very easily see them making a scary run in the Big Ten tournament, though, and then likely getting a spot in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, no, I think that tracks. Ohio State, not a team that I've gotten to watch a ton of yet. Obviously performing above expectation for a normal Ohio State basketball year.
Yes.
So good to see them kind of on the upswing there.
Yes. It's getting back to that. Who was the coach? He went to Butler.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know. I can see his face. I just can't think of his name because he's older guy.
I'm working on it.
Hold on. While you're looking that up, we'll hit Dayton real quick because Dayton is the last team that I want to mention. So we also mentioned Wright State. They are 3.
Are you talking about Chris Holtman?
Yes, thank you, Chris Holtman. Dayton is 3-0 in conference in the Atlantic 10.
Because Thad Matta also went to Butler.
No, I'm thinking of Thad Matta.
But
that's who I was thinking.
Because Holtman was Butler to Ohio State.
Yes.
Thad Matta was Ohio State to Butler.
Yes, Thad Matta. Those Thad Matta years, when he was crazy. But Dayton, 12-4, 3-0 in conference. Losses include Cincinnati, BYU, Virginia, Liberty. They are currently sitting nice, about just a half game up over George Mason, and VCU. And I know you love Woj. St. Bonaventure is sitting at 0-1. Near the bottom of the standings for the conference right now.
You got to give him more time to be the GM.
Yeah. Javon Bennett is scoring 16.8 points per game on a 37% shooting.
Okay.
But you have Deshaun Montgomery, who is shooting almost 15 points per game on a 52% clip.
Okay.
So I think you've got...
It washes out.
Yeah, you got the consistent guys while you also got guys who are heaving balls up and letting them go. So
as is life.
Their next game is going to be Duquesne on next Tuesday.
Okay.
So we got a little bit of time before the Flyers are playing again. And lastly, I just wanted to give a shout out to Thomas More, who has also been in their season. And as I close out with these other things, I pull up their record that I wrote down. They're 7-5, 1-4, but all tight losses, including some overtime games. Their next game is Thursday night, as this is coming out, versus Northwood University at home.
There you go.
So let's talk a little bit about high school basketball. Because you got some girls teams that you wanted to give a shout out to who have been that we didn't give flowers to when we were talking about top players, but
I
wanted teams that are performing well.
I wanted to make sure to get as many teams as possible because like we've talked about, on air and off, it's kind of tough with basketball to do the whole matchups things because you don't get that many great games, like great number one, number two type setups like football kind of bleeds into, especially whenever we need it on Fridays or Saturdays because when we record, yada, yada, so on and so forth.
Yes.
Before we get into the basketball games, though, want to make a quick mention. Tyler Williams, formerly Taft's head football coach, is going to North College Hill.
Okay.
That is going to be a pretty big ordeal. North College Hill was a fairly successful setup last year, but at Taft he went 52-12. They were 11-1 this past year. He previously coached at Coleraine and St. X. I think a lot of this to me reads like he wasn't just super in love with where Taft was after Monsanto Torbert announced that he was going to Princeton, and thought that if he's going to take on a rebuild of some facet, North College Hill was his better bet.
Okay,
that's how I see it.
Yeah. That's how you would approach it if you were in his place.
That's my read on the situation.
Sure.
I'm not to say that I'd rather be at Taft or NCH or whatever, but I think that's probably what happened there.
Sure.
Now, back to your regularly scheduled programming. All right, so the girls' GCL is shaping out to be a fantastic conference, a conference that you have to keep eyes on. Okay. And this is a little bit of a push ahead to a game that happens next Tuesday.
Cool.
Mount Notre Dame and Seton have been in a race for the top spot.
Ooh, yeah.
They are going to be dangerous when it comes to the playoff time, and both teams really very quickly developing a very strong resume. So we'll start with the Cougars of Mount Notre Dame. They're 10-0. They average 62.2 points per game, 39 allowed. As a team, shoot over 30% behind the arc, 15 steals, and almost 5 blocks a game. They're applying pressure.
Yeah.
Not the first or not the last time you're going to hear this, but a pair of sisters leading the team, Mia and Bella Veith. Mia has more points per game, 15.1, 3 boards, 2 assists, 3.1 steals. Bella, a little bit lower, almost about 11 points per game, but has the advantage in rebounds and steals. They combine for almost 7 steals between the two a game.
Yeah. I mean,
6 points,
nearly
6.5.
Nearly 7 steals,
yeah.
Over 7 rebounds, 25 points a game, or 26 points a game.
Yeah. If that's your top two, especially at the high school girls level, that is, you really just can't draw it up much better than that. You have that natural chemistry between the two, which has contributed in a big way to their undefeated mark at this point. But Seton's got their own thing figured out. I would argue a more impressive offense.
Okay.
Less into the defense, but I trust the Saints' offense more on a week-to-week basis. So 11-1. They average 1.1 points per game more than Mount Notre Dame. That's 63.3.
Yep.
They allow 1.3 more points.
Okay.
It's so marginal.
Yeah.
It is so incredibly marginal. 34.8% behind the arc. Okay. So that is a 3-point uptick.
Yeah.
They have 17.4 assists per game. I like that number 8 a lot. They move the ball around. I believe that was the highest of any of the teams I'm going to talk about today. They move it around.
Okay.
The two players you want to focus on, Lauren Bain, 18 points per game. She has been obviously the front runner for their offensive success. 7.4 rebounds, 1.3 steals, over 60% field goal percentage, and she is 66.7% behind the arc, 2 for 3. So not very many shots going up, but if you're making them with that clip, you might as well just keep doing it, right?
Yeah.
And then Aubrey Korfagen joins her. 10.8 points per game, 3.6 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 1.4 steals. I think both teams are well equipped and well set up to make an actual decent run in the offseason. or in the postseason rather.
Sure.
I think that could be in a really good spot there. Then in the ECC, we are dealing with a really, really tight race at the very top. So there are 4 teams as of right now that have 9 or more wins. You've got West Claremont 10-0. You've got Milford 10-1. You've got Winton Woods 9-2, and you've got Walnut Hills 9-2. We've talked about Winton Woods,
Yes.
a few times now, between just Strawberry Blankensee by herself and the Holiday Hardwood Classic.
Yep.
So I want to today, and we will get a little bit of time on Walnut Hills eventually, but I wanted to focus primarily on West Claremont and Milford this week. So West Claremont, they were on my radar because Layla Hale was one of my honorable mentions in the top girls players in the region.
Yes.
So we mentioned her in that episode. I did not spend much time on her. Her and Bella Swisshelm, who is a freshman, have become probably the most dynamic duo in local girls basketball that I have seen this year. They are 10-0 as a unit. They only allow 29 points per game.
Okay.
Just ruthless, while over 66 points per game. Mm-hmm. So like it's like triple.
Yeah. Crushing.
It's horrifying. Almost 35% behind the arc, almost 15 steals a game, almost 3 blocks per game. Again, Bella Swisshelm, a freshman. We've got this season and then 3 more. 21.5 points per game.
Ooh.
7.1 rebounds, 2.3 assists, 3.7 steals, 44% behind the arc.
That's scary.
Yeah, dude.
That's scary if I'm on any other team.
That's a 15-year-old, 14-year-old.
Yeah.
Against 17, 18-year-old.
Yeah.
Dominating. So Bella Swisshelm, she wasn't on my players to know list because how could I have known it? I don't watch very much junior high basketball. But yeah, she's a star. And we're not even a star in the making. She was a star as soon as she dropped in. Layla Hale, who I mentioned, 13.2 points per game, 4 rebounds, 2.1 assists, 2.1 steals. Just super functional between those two. And then you add Kennedy Campbell, who is another 10-point per game scorer for them. She gets 2 steals, 3 assists, 3.5 rebounds herself.
Yeah. You've got a star and you've got supporting cast that would be just as good without the star.
Correct. Well, and yeah, the supporting cast they're all so balanced.
Yeah.
That it's like, oh, you need somebody to get a rebound? All 3 are capable. You need somebody to dish it? All 3 are capable. So it moves in such a way that creates real state title aspirations.
Yes.
And then obviously, as mentioned, Milford Eagles, we want to talk about them as well. Mm-hmm. They are 10-1. That one loss was to West Claremont, 62-39.
Okay.
Little bit, we have a track record, and we won't see this again until the very last game of the year. 2-18, regular season finale, West Claremont and Milford. So plenty of time to grow for the Eagles between those to potentially have a chance at redemption. 55.8 points per game, 36.8 allowed, 34.8 rebounds a game is quite a bit. 11.4 steals. As a unit, just under 40% field goal percentage, and then 27 from 3. They have their offensive woes. They have some struggles.
I'll say this, and because I'm guessing your rebounds per game doesn't break down to offensive defensive.
No, I might be able to get it
because in my head when I'm reading a shooting average of 39%, 27 from 3, if you're getting 35 rebounds a game, you're probably getting a good amount of your own boards back, which is a beneficial thing to a team no matter what.
So I would have to do the math.
Okay, well, we won't do it right now.
But
that'll be for next time.
But it is 156 out of 383 total rebounds are offensive. So it's like a
third. Yeah, which to me is
yeah. That's a good set. Like even with the low percentage, they're still they're getting their own get backs.
Yes,
which has been their recipe for success.
Yes.
Kylie, I'm going to go with Perrone. Mm-hmm. Is their leading scorer, 14 points per game, 8.6 boards, 1.8 blocks, 58% field goal percentage.
Sure.
And then Gabby and Michaela Chadwell, again, sisters, leading the pack behind her. 13.2 points per game for Gabby, 8.7 for Michaela. They combined for 6 rebounds, 8.5 assists, and then 7 steals.
Yeah.
4.1 steals for Gabby, Chadwell. That should be mentioned on its own because having 4 steals a game is just absurd.
Yes.
So, yeah, they're
sticky fingers.
Exactly. And so those 4 teams are all ones to watch. We've got, I feel so good about Cincinnati's chances of a state title in the girls' basketball ranks.
Yeah.
Probably 2 or 3 because, we do the layers. So I truly think that girls' basketball in Ohio is in Cincinnati is some of the most impressive that you're going to find pretty much anywhere.
That's a bold claim with Indiana right next door, big guy.
I'm taking it. I didn't say guaranteed number 1. I just said that it is some of the deepest, most competitive basketball that you're going to find.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I think it's a testament to because as we've kind of talked, we can tease ahead to next week because we actually know our plan, or at least our outline, until we add more stuff 15 minutes before we start recording.
Apart on us.
But I will be talking more about the women's side of the game in college. You'll be looking at some of the boys teams.
Yeah, the matchups that we get in the MLK Classic.
Yes,
for the same folks that put together the Holiday Hardwood,
which is going to be on the 19th, and you'll be able to watch it live on 19.3 The Rock, and
which I do know is stuff. Which I do know for Spectrum customers is $99.99. I don't know what all the other channels are. I'll bring that for next week.
I would say it's. The one we need is Alta Fiber.
Yes.
But I don't remember
what
it is. I want to say it's in the 250s.
Something. I don't know.
But I might be wrong.
Either way, you're going to have 4 really fun basketball games to watch of local teams. Buckle in for that. Until then, Brad, where can they find us?
Oh, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Spotify, Apple, Amazon. Geezer, I think, is one.
Geezer?
I know that's a website.
That's a derogatory term for an old person. I know that.
Yeah, but that's a thing. But just search for FOX19 Now Sports.
Sorry, Geezer. I didn't mean to offend.
On your podcast feeds. And you will get us on Thursdays, and you will get the Gold Standard on Fridays as well with Joe Daneman or Jeremy Rao filling in sometimes, talking with Charlie Goldsmith about all things Bengals, Reds, FC Cincinnati.
All 3 are electric. If you get any of them on the episode, you're having a good time. Yeah.
And sometimes they talk about all the teams or multiple teams. It's crazy.
Well, and now it's going to be a real that's such a grab bag.
Yeah.
For what they're going to go for here.
They do have a month before any teams are playing.
But I will tell you, that honestly sometimes leads to some of the best content from them because then that gets them creative.
Yes.
And there's nobody in this building that is more creative than Joe Daneman and Jeremy Rao.
Especially when you have limitations on them.
Correct.
Yep. They
get active.
And I'm sure we'll be trying to get them in the room here at some point too.
Yeah, we'll
catch up with those guys.
Now that we know how this setup rolls.
Yes. Now that we figured out how to bring a guest in.
Oh.
But that is all that we have for this week. You can also find the video version on YouTube under FOX19 Now or on the fox19.com under podcasts and 19 on the clock. But that is all that we have for you guys. So we'll see you next week.
Have a good one.